So this week we're going to cover what we are actually getting and answer a few of those questions that we got during our little filming gig last week.
I think convenience is quite a big thing, and that's what stops a lot of people from actually doing the right thing. Having a better system would be more ideal than what's happening at the moment.
Okay, so we're going to get a 240 litre recycling bin which has a yellow lid on it. We're going to get a 140 litre rubbish bin which has a red lid on it, and then there's going to be the food waste bin which is 23 litres. Now all of the bins will, the same as our glass already does now, will go out fortnightly except for the food waste bin which is going to go out weekly. So there was a few people who are worried about the size of the rubbish bin, but I'm going to talk about that at the end and why it's actually a good thing and how we'll be able to hopefully cope with that.
And then obviously money is always a factor and everything, so hopefully it's quite reasonable in pricing. And yeah.
We're actually going to be saving money because not only are we not going to be paying for rubbish bags every week, basically for the same price as what we're paying now for rubbish bags, plus maybe a little bit more, we're going to get our food waste taken away, our rubbish taken away, and our recycling done.
So as it stands now, I don't mind getting the rubbish bin, but we don't want the green bin, and we don't mind the recycling bin, but we don't need it because we go to we go there every fortnight because my daughter lives out there, so we go past and drop it off like we did this morning.
I know some people sort of said, oh well, but you know, the recycling I already recycle, but you know, the cool thing is you can now do it at the curb. You don't have to drive to the transfer station unless you've got excess recycling.
The bins, would we have to get them delivered or would we have to go and pick them up ourselves?
It's a great question. Like, do we have to go and pick up the bins? No, we don't have to pick up the bins. In the coming months, all the bins will be delivered to us, so we'll get them, but do make sure that you don't start using them before the date it says on there, because otherwise you'll have bins sitting around that aren't going to be collected for a little while. The service doesn't actually start until July, so keep those bins closed and don't put anything in them until you're ready to get the service or when the service starts.
Well, me personally, I'd hope it's on like a timely basis, so maybe weekly or maybe even more frequent than that, but yeah.
So with the service being fortnightly, I know there's a few people who are like, oh, is it going to be timely? Are we going to have 4 bins sitting out on the curb every week? No. So basically 1 week you'll be putting out 2 bins and the next week you'll be putting out 3. The food waste bin is the one that goes out every week, and then the other bins will be split between fortnights.
That it would be a pay for what you use type scenario. So if we only needed our bin emptied once a month, then we would only pay for it once a month.
Okay, so there was also some comments around like, we're so good, so why do we have to pay? I think the reality is that, I mean, I'm good too, but I'm more than happy to pay for the service myself, especially if it enables the whole region to be able to take part in recycling a lot easier, and like especially the food waste composting, because there is a few things around the food waste that people who even say, oh, I compost already. There's a few little tricks that I'm going to come up with in the next video about what you can put in the food waste bin that you definitely can't put in your compost bin.
Because at the moment everything is just in one paper bag and going to one rubbish area, which is probably growing by hours, not by days. And New Zealand is tiny, and this rubbish amount is like growing and growing and growing. And
I imagine it's to reduce our waste going to landfill in total.
Okay, so the reason why the council's doing it and why I love what they're doing is because essentially, as a region, we can divert 65% of our waste that's currently going to landfill by bringing in this new system. The reality is the food waste, there's massive amounts of food waste that's going to landfill, which shouldn't be going to landfill. That's going to be diverted from every household if we all use that service. And then also the recycling, there's quite a big percentage of recycling that's currently going to landfill. So therefore, if we get into recycling properly, we'll also be diverting a massive amount of recycling from landfill. So it's a great system. I know there's a few people who are worried about the size of their rubbish bin, but just think, if your rubbish bin's only going out fortnightly, and I think it holds about 2 1/3 or 2 1/2 bags, and you put out a bag a week, then that's fine. But actually, you might actually find that your bin has got less waste in it after a 2-week period, because now you can recycle, you can take your food waste out, and that just makes it better. So in the coming videos, we're going to talk about what you can and can't put in your recycling bin, because there's some changes that have happened just in the last couple of weeks. And also the next video is going to be about your food waste. So keep in touch. We'll be rolling those out in the next few days. So it's time for us to learn, and we've got time to learn. See you again soon.